Once upon a time, Diane Delia and Bobby Ferrara are basking in the limelight, happy and in love.
They were that picture that you see when you want to visualize like the perfect couple.
But soon, their relationship evolves into a bizarre love triangle.
The definite tragedy of life.
The story in itself is a very crazy story. I don't know if you could ever call a murder routine, but it was a very different story.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. Bobby Ferrara and Diane Delia are finally getting married. These New Yorkers are no ordinary couple. The bride is transsexual. But Bobby can't wait to be her man forever.
It was like the captain of the football team and the head cheerleader, you know? They were that picture that you see in your head when you want to visualize like the perfect couple.
Everyone's thrilled for them. Their closest friend Vanessa even bought the wedding bands for the ceremony.
They just were such a good couple. It just always seemed so wonderful.
You know, weddings are a ceremony. They're a ceremony marking something. And what are they marking? A new beginning. This is a chance to start over. This is a chance to begin a new life for Bobby and Diane.
But that new life is cut short when just 2 months later, on the nearby Hudson River, trouble rises to the surface.
Two workmen, they were having their lunch and they saw something floating. They called the police. They were requesting detectives at the foot of 28th Street Pier. There was a floater. That's police terminology for a body in the water.
Looks like the dock master's actually moved.
The first responding officers pull the body onto shore.
When I got there, the body was still wrapped in a yellow blanket, tied with rope. We did search the body. There was no identification, no wallet, no money, no jewelry.
Police can't tell much yet. Just that it's a woman with 4 bullet holes in her head. Detectives don't know who she is, or that she once was a he. Newlywed Diane Delia was actually born a male named John Delia. He grew up singing and dancing, flamboyant from the start. He had a difficult childhood, never quite fitting in.
Being a gay person in adolescence with emerging sexuality is tough enough in this decade. But could you imagine the 1970s? I'm sure it was really rough on him. I'm sure he had big questions about who he was and what he was supposed to be.
As an adult, when he starts hanging out in gay clubs featuring drag shows, he realizes he's most comfortable where gender gets into a gray area.
Thank you guys so much for coming out to my show this evening.
In the 70s, Manhattan is the center of the glam disco scene, where all the rules are thrown out the window. John's drag show soon makes him a local celebrity. He's especially known for his spot-on impersonation of Diana Ross.
If Diana Ross disappeared off the face of the earth, he could step right into her shoes and no one would know it. We were at Studio 54 one night and people were actually thinking that he was Diana Ross. And I was like, oh, I can't believe this. They think you're Ross. And he was like, shut up. I am. I was like, okay, you are.
Some see John as a boy, some as a girl. Either way, John is a ball.
The most vivacious, outgoing diva with a capital D that you would ever want to meet. Once you met her, you'd never forget her, ever. Whether good or bad, you would never forget her.
John and a small band of fellow drag queens make whichever club they go to the club, whether dressed as guys or girls.
From the minute you saw one of us coming through the door, you knew the other two were right behind. They knew once we walked through the door, we ruled that club. It was like they parted the seas when we walked in.
Drag queens are loved in gay clubs. It was a great place for him to act out his sexual orientation.
He's a rising star with loads of friends. Yet John still feels like something isn't quite right. He's not sure if he should keep dressing up as a woman or actually become one. Bobby Ferrara has always known he's gay, but there's a lot of pressure not to be, especially in the 70s. Hoping for a new path, he joins the Navy.
Bobby probably joined so he could have the ultimate expression of heterosexual male machismo. I'm gonna be a man.
What's going on? How are we all tonight?
But he quickly realizes it's not for him. He goes AWOL and finds his true calling bartending in New York's gay clubs.
He knew a lot of people as a bartender. He was very friendly. Everybody knew him, everybody liked him.
Bobby was the guy everybody wanted to date. He was tall, dark, handsome, laid back.
He was just an incredibly warm human being.
But as with John, something's missing.
If only he could come out with a partner who he was really attracted to, who he could also take to the world and not suffer discrimination.
And then one night, John, the performer, spots Bobby, the bartender.
I think when John and Bob first met, I know it was love at first sight for John. John just fell head over heels. He said, that's gonna be my husband someday. I'm gonna marry him.
As they begin dating, Bobby's found his place, and John's happier than ever. But now, newlywed Diane Delia, the person once known as John, has disappeared from Riverdale, New York. Bobby and their closest friend Vanessa tell Diane's mom they last saw Diane out partying 3 weeks earlier, wearing an all-lavender outfit with matching shoes. What they don't know yet is that over in Manhattan, investigators have pulled the body of a young woman out of the Hudson. And she's wearing a lavender outfit.
They had no identifying documents of any type on the body to make a determination as to who this body was at that time.
An autopsy begins to provide answers. The victim is in her early 20s and was shot at point-blank range. Police also discover that the woman was not always a woman.
They also make a determination that at one time this body was not a female, that at one time it was a male who had a sex change operation to become a female.
At the autopsy, the medical examiner also discovers something that might help identify the victim. A cartoon bunny tattoo on the shoulder. Finally, a detail to go on. With a tattooed transsexual victim found in the Hudson, detectives know the logical place to focus the search for an ID is in the tightly knit gay community in Midtown.
When I found out she was a he instead of a she, I immediately thought it was a local person from 12th or 11th Avenue who somehow got in trouble and wound up in the water. Something local, never thinking what was to come.
What is to come is an escalating series of bizarre twists and stunning surprises. How did Diane Delia go from fabulous newlywed club goddess to an unidentified murder victim floating in the Hudson River? Who put her there, and why? The answers lie in a provocative story of love, identity, betrayal, and unexpected violence. Newlywed bride Diane Delia, a transsexual woman born John Delia, has been missing from Riverdale, New York for 3 weeks. Her new husband, Bobby, her best friend, Vanessa, everyone who knows her, they're all worried. Unbeknownst to them, Manhattan police have recovered an unusual murder victim in the Hudson River, 15 miles from where Diane was last seen. At this point, the cops know 2 things. The young woman is a transsexual, and she has a cartoon bunny tattoo on her shoulder. Bobby and Vanessa hear about the discovery. They go with some friends to ID the body. It's a horrifying sight.
I mean, you couldn't really recognize her. She was in the water for a week or 2, wrapped in a blanket. She was very leathery. There were no eyes. It wasn't a pretty sight.
After Vanessa saw it, she just turned white, ran out of the room.
The new groom is stunned. He's lost his wife just a few months after they wed.
He was upset, crying. He didn't handle it well. He didn't handle it well. He was a wreck.
No one wants to believe that their beloved Diane is gone. Vanessa makes the difficult call to Diane's father.
She says, a body floated up down on Pier 23, and they think it's John because of the bunny tattoo. I said, oh my God. I was beside myself.
How could a person so wildly alive now be lying there, dead? Even before he became Diane, John Delia always had a performer's personality.
John's mother was accepting right from the get-go. Had no qualm with it at all. I think she knew before even John knew.
The way they interacted, it was like one being. She wanted him to succeed, and she did everything she could for him to do that.
John's mother would give John anything. I mean, as far as her jewelry, her clothing. John didn't fit in her clothes, but John fit in her minks.
Hey, can you turn the music down?
Things are different with Dad. It's not unusual for a conservative father.
I think Mr. Delia, John's father, was a little more difficult for him.
He loves John, but it's all just out of his comfort zone.
I sort of wasn't that interested when I heard that he was with this gay business. And I sort of started to shut myself out with him and his mother. And I started to blame his mother for the way she was treating him and bringing him up.
With his mother supporting him, it was easier for John. And he began to experiment with women's clothing and eventually grew up to be a drag queen.
He simply comes alive in New York's vibrant drag scene. Although still a man at this point, he's got the most glamorous dresses, the highest heels, the boldest makeup.
Coming out to my show tonight.
His career has taken off and he and Bobby are solid. He knows that Bobby is the man for him, but he's still struggling with his gender identity.
Some men are born chromosomally, anatomically, as men, but they feel that they're in the wrong body.
John had been thinking about going for the complete sex change. It was kind of an on-again and off-again thing.
Life with Bobby feels right, but something still nags at him. Then a year into their relationship, Bobby gets caught for going AWOL. When Bobby goes to military jail for a 4-month sentence, John is left alone. He starts to think a sex change really is his destiny. 2 months later, John meets a young woman named Vanessa Kingston. She's a gorgeous socialite who pulls up in a brand new Cadillac.
John's first comment was, "So, must be nice driving around in Daddy's car."
Oh, no, baby. That's my car.
Right away, John's eyes opened up. "Oh,
My name's John."
They hit it off right away. Shocking everyone around them, the two begin a torrid affair.
Sexual attraction isn't just about anatomy, it's about seduction. She wanted to seduce him, a gay man. That can be intoxicating. Remember, John loved to be loved. He loved the audience, he loved the limelight. And then to have this rich girl from the Upper East Side, an uptown girl, coming down in her fancy car, throwing her money around, that was exciting and sexy to him.
He was in this role now where he's going to be the boyfriend, and she loved it. She just absolutely loved it.
John rethinks the sex change and starts learning how to pleasure a woman.
They did have intercourse, they had sex. He could come out of the room and say, "Oh, she just did this to me, and I just did that to her."
Vanessa indulges him with spending money and lavish drag costumes.
Hey, Dad, you in here?
John's family loves Vanessa, especially his father, who believes she's helping his confused son straighten up.
Dad, Bruno.
Vanessa, hey,
And when I first met her, I thought butter would melt in her mouth. She was a cute little kid. She came from a very good family. Figured they were going to get married.
Is this the girl for John?
Vanessa wanted more than just a friendship. She wanted him. She wanted to marry him.
These are all beautiful.
Let's wear that one. Let's definitely wear that one tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
Love it. Guess who's back?
But then, Bobby gets out of jail and breezes back into town.
Oh my God, how are you?
And once again, John's topsy-turvy life gets drawn in a different direction. Bobby is his true love.
John didn't let anybody or anything stand in his way, not even Vanessa, when it came to Bob.
Poor Vanessa.
She still wanted to be an important part of John's life. She did everything she could to make sure she did not lose her place.
Vanessa sticks around as a best friend. And John and Bobby's relationship gets back on track.
John decided he wanted to become a woman so he could marry Bob.
Bobby's never been fully comfortable being gay outside the club scene. If John gets the sex change, Bobby can love the guy he fell for, but be with a woman. Vanessa offers to finance the sex change operation. She might be losing him as a lover, but she's determined to keep him in her life. John's father just doesn't get it.
So what kind of a girl is in love with a guy and gives him money to have a sex change? I mean, it's all Greek to me. I can't figure that out.
Still, everything seems to be falling into place. John flies off to Colorado to pull the trigger.
This is what she was going to do. She's in the wrong body. She needs to do this. I'm not happy the way I am, and she went ahead and did it.
I got a call from my son, John. He said, "Dad, it's me, John. I'm in Colorado somewhere. I had a sex change." I said, "What?" I was hysterical. "What do you mean you had a sex change?"
Now physically a complete woman, she takes the name Diane, in honor of Diana Ross, whom she still impersonates in clubs around New York City.
She was so proud. It was like a whole nother person. She was no longer John. John was someone reaching to be whole. I think after the operation, she had that. She was finally whole.
Bobby and Diane are together in a way they've never been before. And Vanessa remains a dear friend. Maybe the tumultuous relationship among these three vivacious people is finally leveling out.
They were always together. They would do things together. They would go to clubs. They would go out to eat. They would go on trips together. It seemed at that point that they all had this agreement, and it seemed to work out.
But now, Diane's dead, and those who love her are devastated. No matter how she lived her life, she didn't deserve to die like this. Soon, a sparkling engagement ring and some fabulous shoes will help police uncover the truth. 2 months after an unusual wedding, transsexual bride Diane Delia is found dumped in the Hudson River, shot to death. She's left behind a legion of mourning fans and her new groom. Her complex life cut tragically short. Through insect evidence on her body, investigators determined Diane was killed in a wooded area before being thrown into the Hudson. She was found wrapped in a yellow blanket. Her shoes and ring are missing. There are no fingerprints to point toward her killer.
The case is going to have to be solved the old-fashioned way, getting out, hitting the streets, talking to people.
But none of Diane's many loved ones seem to know anything. Detectives do get one possible lead when they talk again to the grieving groom.
He asked me if his wife's ring was found. I said there was no jewelry found on the body. He said she was wearing an engagement ring and it's missing.
Bobby has a hunch about the ring.
That's what he said to me. If you find who stole my wife's ring, you'll find who killed her.
They hope Bobby's right, and the ring will lead to whoever killed Diane, who had just begun coming alive as a woman. She's successfully transitioned her once romantic relationship with Vanessa to a friendship. And she's back with Bobby, the love of her life.
Together, they made a great couple. It was like they would finish each other's lines if they were having a conversation. It just always seemed so wonderful.
I think I like these right here, don't you? Do you like that one right there?
I love it.
Let's try that one on.
They want to make it forever and decide to marry. But Bobby can't afford the kind of ring Diane truly deserves. To show her support, Vanessa takes the happy couple on a shopping spree. The perfect engagement ring is on her. For Diane, the perfect ring is 3 white gold bands with 7 sparkling diamonds. Diane is thrilled to have her lover and dear friend supporting her journey. It's a non-traditional arrangement, to be sure, but with these 3, their bizarre love triangle seems to work.
Are you nervous yet? A little bit?
Just breathe.
Today is your day of being spectacular. It's all about you, girl.
Bobby and Diane plan their wedding to be a small family affair at the local courthouse.
Come on, Vanessa. Okay, how about right here?
Diane has never felt more love.
You're gorgeous.
Oh, look at the happy couple. So excited.
Diane wanted to marry Bob more than anything in the world.
Bobby and Diane exchange vows, promising to love, honor, and cherish each other forever.
When I'd heard that Bobby married Diane, I was surprised that Bobby married a woman, but I was not surprised that Bobby married Diane.
She was just very excited. Her life was falling into place now. She got the man of her dreams, she had the wedding she wanted, and now her career was going to take off, and she had her little circle of close friends that she trusted.
But someone has betrayed that trust. Police struggle to find out who killed Diane. They turn to those closest to the victim, including her husband and best friend. They certainly have an unusual 3-way relationship.
Love triangles are as bad as 3 little girls on a play date. They always involve fights. There's someone at the top of the triangle that the 2 other people love. And there's always room for conflict down here between the other 2.
Detectives know husbands are often involved, but there's nothing at all pointing to Bobby.
I didn't think Bobby was violent. in any way. He was just a very mellow kind of guy. Really pleasant, really nice.
What about Vanessa, Diane's closest friend and former lover? It seems impossible. She's always been so devoted to Diane.
She did everything she could to make Diane happy and to give Diane what she wanted.
So, could it have been a stranger? Friends do say Diane's big personality did rub some people the wrong way.
Blonde. Go blonde. Don't you think blonde? Girl, how's she gonna go blonde?
And she had a fiery temper.
Why don't you queens stop being so loud and shut the hell up sometimes?
Oh, no, darling, I suggest you shut your mouth before you get punched in it.
She was a boisterous person. She would start a fight on a drop of a dime. She had no enemies, but she'd start a fight.
Perhaps one of those people Diane stood up to got fed up and killed her. But who? Investigators are frustrated. They have no exact time of death, so they aren't able to grill suspects about potential alibis. And they don't have physical evidence beyond the blanket she was wrapped in. Police find it hard to pull information from some of Diane's group of friends. The tight-knit subculture of drag queens and transsexuals can be difficult to penetrate. Answers come slowly. Bobby had said if they can find Diane's missing engagement ring, they'll find her killer. And soon, police will find out he's right. A week after the body of transsexual bride Diane Delia is identified, her family plans a private funeral service. Since no one knows who killed Diane, they decide to make the funeral just for immediate family. Not even Diane's husband, Bobby, or best friend Vanessa is invited. So they gather together for support and to watch what they can.
We watched the funeral cars go by, and as the cars went by, I had Vanessa on one side of me and Bob on the other side of me. And we're watching, and they're like, you know, I can't believe they're not gonna let us go. I'm her husband, I should be allowed to go.
Diane's mother has the crypt engraved Diane Delia to honor the woman John Delia became. It's hard for Mr. Delia to accept.
When I went to his funeral, he was buried as Diane Delia, which I was infuriated. I went crazy up at the cemetery.
Even after her death, Diane's parents still fought over her gender identity. The mother putting the name Diane on the headstone and the father being angry, wanting his son John's name there. In the end, she rests in peace with the identity she chose.
But who killed her? Police slowly get insiders to reveal that things weren't perfect in the complex relationship between Diane, Bobby, and Vanessa, starting when Diane was John and dating Vanessa.
John loved Vanessa. Vanessa loved John. Vanessa loved John in the sense that husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, sexual intimacy, where John loved her as a friend, as a sister, someone to confide in, someone to go shopping with. I don't think that quite sat well with Vanessa.
She seemed to support John's decision to become Diane, even paying for it. But she never really accepts her new role as just a friend.
I think somebody really special tonight. The most important person in my life, and I want you to know them as well. Mr. Bobby Ferrara.
It changed after John was changed. After John became Diane, then you saw the strains on everything. Even with Vanessa and Bob, the quarrels they would fight.
Hey, handsome. Looking for a good time?
Look, I'm not looking for a good time right now.
And insiders say Bobby also has a tough time adjusting to life with Diane after the wedding. He rejects her sexually.
But that needs to be with other gay men.
he misses the company of men.
I should be all that you need. No, you're not!
Bob was gay. I mean, you're gay for a reason. You want a man. I think Bob was caught between a rock and a hard place.
Bobby says he needs to continue seeing other men. He's gay after all, but doesn't want Diane to see anyone else. In frustration, Diane moves out of the apartment she shares with Bobby and moves in with Vanessa. This is just days before she vanishes. It's a complex tale with many moving parts, and police aren't any closer to figuring out who pulled the trigger. Detectives compile witness statements to piece together the timeline of the last night she was seen alive.
I'm sorry.
Diane goes out with Vanessa and some friends to their regular spot, a diner in Yonkers. It's a great night, until Vanessa sees Diane with her beautiful new friend.
I'm sorry.
Diane was making out with another girl in front of Vanessa, and she got very upset about it.
That was Vanessa, but that's how Vanessa was. She wanted something,
Vanessa!
and if she didn't get it, that's when all hell would break loose.
As they say, hell hath no fury.
Vanessa, what is going on right now?
Vanessa got enraged over it. She went to Robert Ferrara's apartment and demanded all of Diane's clothing because she paid for them. She didn't want to see Diane dressed up like that anymore. She says, I'm not giving any clothes back. They're clothes I paid for, and they're mine.
The triangle is collapsing. Vanessa's enraged and filled with envy. Bobby's off seeing other men. Diane is at the top of the triangle going, what happened here?
That night, Diane stays out with friends, hoping to just have fun, like the good old days before it got so complicated.
This is Gary.
Friends tell police late that night, Diane gets a call.
I think it's Bobby.
Bobby says he knows where some stolen DJ equipment is, and he has promised a friend he'll get it back. He says he really needs Diane's help.
All right, Bobby. This is gonna be the last time. I'll see you in a few.
Diane asks her friends to drop her off at Bobby's place, where Vanessa had just gone to take back all the clothes.
You know you're more than welcome.
I know, I hate to rush out on you. I hate to rush out, guys. It was so nice meeting you. It was so nice meeting you.
After that, nothing. Until the river. Police are narrowing in on what happened to her in between those times, but they need evidence. Bobby had mentioned that finding Diane's missing ring might lead them to the answers. On a hunch, detectives check a pawn shop next to the Yonkers diner Diane, Bobby, and Vanessa frequented.
I spoke to the owner and asked him about this particular piece of jewelry, and I described it to him. And I had Robert Ferrara's name. He said, the ring you're talking about, Robert tried to sell it to me early in October. I bought it from him.
It means Bobby had the ring after Diane disappeared.
I'm thinking I got Robert in a big, big lie, and I don't know how he's gonna get out of it. So I brought him into the station house. I said, Robert, you lied to me. You told me your wife had the ring. He said, I couldn't tell you the truth because I knew it would look bad for me. Look bad for you? It makes you look like a killer.
But in this story, nothing is simple. And before the whole truth comes out, the most bitter betrayal will come to light. Police believe Diane Delia's new husband, Bobby, was involved in her murder. But they have no evidence beyond a pawned wedding ring and no witnesses. Months pass with no arrest. Then, 3 months after the murder, investigators get a break when a friend of Bobby's named Giorgio gets busted for drugs. Hoping for leniency, he offers up information on the Diane Delia case.
I killed her.
He says Bobby actually confessed to him, that he and Vanessa killed Diane together. But it's just one statement. Police still need physical evidence. And it starts to show up. Just after Giorgio talks, some of Diane's drag queen friends tell police they recently went through Diane's costumes at Vanessa's apartment and found Diane's lavender pumps. The ones everyone says Diane was wearing the night she disappeared. How could Vanessa still have them? Then, Gary notices another important detail when he recalls Diane was found wrapped in a yellow blanket.
I noticed that the blanket that Vanessa had at the foot of her bed was missing. And I told the police that she used to keep that same color blanket, same style blanket at the foot of her bed, and it's not there anymore.
So took him down and showed him the blanket. He says, it looks like it's the same blanket.
The two detectives that were on the case, they did a fabulous job. They found out the blanket that they wrapped them in was bought by her mother 25 years prior to that. They traced the rope. It was from the mother's house.
The rope, blanket, the shoes connected to Vanessa. The ring connected to Bobby.
Somebody's not telling us everything they know.
In January 1982, 3 months after the killing, police charged both Vanessa and Bobby with the murder of Diane Delia. It stuns everyone.
I think the last people that we would have thought had anything to do with it would have been Vanessa and Bobby.
Sensing the cops were narrowing in on him, Bobby Ferrara had attempted suicide in a motel, but he was saved and is arrested after he recovers.
You know, he actually seemed relieved. He really seemed relieved.
I guess it's over.
He says it is over.
But it's not over yet. Prosecutors still need to prove it in court. The prosecutor's theory is that the crime begins to unfold when the love triangle between Diane, Bobby, and Vanessa falls apart after the wedding. Vanessa's motive? Prosecutors claim jealousy. She's obsessed, and Diane had pushed her too far away. And Bobby's? Wanting to get out of a marriage to a woman he never should have entered into.
All right, okay, thank you.
Prosecutors build their case on Bobby's confession. He says that on that night, he lures Diane to the apartment where Vanessa is waiting. They drive her to a rural area by the river, telling Diane they're going to retrieve stolen DJ equipment dumped in the woods. Bobby tries to pin the murder on Vanessa and tells police that as they walk, Vanessa pulls a gun from her purse and without warning, shoots her former lover twice. Bobby says he thinks Diane is still alive. So he takes the gun and shoots her 2 more times to put her out of her misery. But Vanessa claims she's innocent and fights the charges. Her attorney paints a glowing picture of her to the jury. He emphasizes that she's an educated nurse who is a productive member of society. She couldn't be more different than bartender Bobby.
Bobby had nobody there in the courtroom from his family. Vanessa, on the other hand, had her mother and her father and her cousins, and then midway through the trial, there was a young man who I was introduced to as her fiancé. She had a wonderful lawyer. He didn't. He had a court-appointed lawyer who was shocked by his client's lifestyle.
In the end, the jury rejects Bobby's story that Vanessa was involved. After deliberating for 4 days, they return a not guilty verdict for her. Bobby doesn't fare so well. He is found guilty, and the judge sentences him to 20 years to life. He goes to prison, and Vanessa goes free.
Here was the daughter of a doctor who was working as a nurse, who had a stable income and a stable job. And then there was the gay bartender who was living with the transgendered guy. And I'm sure there was a lot of prejudice and discrimination around this. So it was a lot easier for the jury to connect with, understand, and sympathize with Vanessa.
For some, the verdict is not satisfying, but it's finally over. Still, there's no good explanation for Diane's death.
Nobody knows. The only two that know are them. You know, we all could surmise, we can guess, we can say we heard this, we heard that. The only two people in this world that know exactly what happened that night is Vanessa and Bob.
It was a very bizarre love triangle, and as bizarre as it started, that's how bizarre it ended.
After serving 25 years, Bobby Ferrara was paroled in 2008. Vanessa got married and had children. She now lives in an affluent suburb. Diane's family and friends still feel her loss and wonder what life would be like if she were still alive today.
I miss my camaraderie with Diane. I miss my friendship. I miss her every day.
You know, I think he missed out on the best times of our lives. Because before they started, he was gone.
Some think the tragedy destroyed Diane's mother.
Mrs. Delia passed away a year later, and I truly believe it was from a broken heart.
And for Mr. Delia, the impact is just so painful, even now.
It's a little difficult for me to say.
No matter how complex relationships are, family is still family. And no family member should be ripped away like this, ever.